Hey YouTube, it's Eric. This video is gonna be pretty quick. I just wanted to give all my viewers a heads up. Just on this channel, I ordered a book titled "The FBI and the Catholic Church." It's focused from 1935 to 1962, but it was recently published by the University of Massachusetts, if I'm not mistaken. Interestingly, the University of Massachusetts, William Bulger, the brother of the notorious murderer Woody Bulger, who's also an FBI informant. William Bulger was Jesuit trained at Boston College High School and Boston College, and he was the president of the University of Massachusetts. But I think it was the University of Massachusetts who wrote this book. But I'm just giving you guys a heads up. I'm going to be reading it out on my channel when it comes in. I read one book on my channel before, and that was this one. There's a playlist if you haven't seen it. If you go through the list of my playlist, there's a playlist that's titled After Manhattan, The Vatican Billions full audiobook, 36 chapters. Really good book. It's an enlightening read or listen, and it's an out of print book. I've been meaning to get this scanned in on a PDF because the only copies of the Vatican Billions you can find digitally are like 80 pages. It's just the first like 12 chapters. But I put the whole, if you haven't seen, I put this whole book out on my channel. But I'm going to be reading another book next week. I'm just going to show you the book I'm going to be reading, and it looks like it's going to be some good information because I'll show you. I excerpt some info out of this book into a post I did on my blog, Our Jesuit World Order. But this is the book here. It's the FBI and the Catholic Church. This is what I'm going to be reading out. See, it should be arriving next week. Here, The FBI and the Catholic Church by Steve Rossum. And it's tenors from 1935 to 1962. I'm going to show you here J. Edgar Hoover, got honorary degrees from Georgetown, Jesuit Holy Cross, Jesuit Marquette. He got an honorary degree from Catholic Notre Dame, Catholic St. John's University, Catholic Seton Hall. Hoover was also a Master Mason of the Scottish Rite, the York Rite, the Order of the Malay. He's got quite a big resume. But here's a post I did using some information from this book. I'll show you that if you haven't seen this picture, it's just very revealing. J. Edgar Hoover was also given a sword of Ignatius Loyola. I'm not sure if the book will cover that, but the New York Times covered it here. I got the sword series September 23rd, 1964. J. Edgar Hoover, director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, was named today the first recipient of the Sword of Loyola. Here's a photo of it. There's Hoover getting his Sword of Loyola right there. This is the book here. There's lots of information on Hoover in the book. I'll link this post I put together in the description. Like for example, you look at this quote here. This is from a review of the book I'm going to be reading here. Look here. Fordham University President Robert I. Gannon, S.J., commented that quote, "The FBI and Fordham have the same ideas." End quote. Like the FBI, the Jesuits are known as the quote, "the Pope's Marines." End quote. Lots of information like that. Uh, J. Edgar Hoover considered the Catholic Church, quote, coming from Hoover, "the greatest protective influence in our nation today," end quote. I made lots of connections in this post just on the current and former FBI directors who are Catholic, like Louis Freeh, who was the head of the FBI during the Waco massacre that the Jesuits engineered, is a member of the Opus Dei and sent his children to Jesuit Georgetown and Opus Dei schools. Here, I'll show you some more just Jesuit trained FBI officials that I found. I'll check the comments here shortly. Yeah, this guy is like called Caesar, like Caesar, like Caesar Borgia or like Caesar. He's here Caesar Frank Figluzzi, former assistant director of the FBI counterintelligence, and he after the FBI he joined General Electric, who's currently headed up by Jim Flannery, Jesuit trained at Fairfield. I did a video on it. General Electric is gave out probably over $700,000 in donations to Catholic uh, institutions and Jesuit universities in 2017. Actually, and Paul Colonna from the Colonna Black nobility family. Yeah, I think his name's Paul Colonna. He's high up at General Electric right now in the investment department. You see here, Caesar Frank Figluzzi went to Fairfield, which is Jesuit. This guy here is the recently the 14th director of the FBI, Sean Joyce. He went to Boston College. This guy here, this I found this interesting. The Joseph Leo Gormley was the chief of chemistry and toxicology for the FBI, and he went to Boston College in Georgetown. And it was actually Jesuit Jesuit trained Joseph Leo Gormley who uh, he says here Gormley supervised a program that developed the use of the lie detector test. Thought that was interesting. This guy here is a devout Catholic, Robert Hansen. He was an FBI agent who spied for Soviet Russia and Russian intelligence services against the United States. His espionage was Robert Hansen's espionage was described by the Department of Justice as, quote, possibly the worst intelligence disaster in U.S. history. And look at this, 1968, Hansen married his wife, Bonnie, a strict Roman Catholic. He, Hansen, converted to Catholicism and became heavily involved in the conservative Catholic organization Opus Dei. So if you read this article here, there's quite a few, it's quite a bit of information. Like, you see that the FBI is thoroughly Catholic. One of J. Edgar Hoover's top assistants was General Joseph Francis Carroll, I think a descendant of Jesuit priest John Carroll, who founded Georgetown, Charles Carroll, and Daniel Carroll. But General Francis Joseph Carroll, Jesuit trained, was going to be a Roman Catholic priest, was like Hoover's one of Hoover's top assistants until 1947. And then Jesuit trained Joseph Francis Carroll went on to found the Bureau or the Defense Intelligence Agency. But I'll see if anyone's in the comments here. I just wanted to give it a little announcement. I probably won't be reading this book as fast as I read the Vatican Billions out on my channel, just because I am in kind of exam time here. But I am gonna get the whole book out on my channel. Let me see here. Jesuits want Trump gone so the New World Order can be full effect. It'll be interesting because I know that the what's his name, the Cohen guy, Trump's assistant at Goldman Sachs. I forget his first name. But I know Cohen. He's a Roman Catholic. He's Jewish, but he's trained by. He went to a Catholic school, worked at Goldman Sachs, and I think he's testifying on the I think the U.S. House about Trump was caught lying about disclosing. I haven't read a ton of the story. I've heard that Trump was caught lying, like disclosing investments in Russia. But I think Cohen is gonna like possibly maybe snitch on Trump, so that'll be interesting. Yeah, Trump is absolutely one of them though. Like I don't know if you this is the article. Where is this here? Palm Beach. I'll link this in the description. Jeremiah, I guess Jeremiah, have you seen this story before? Donald Trump's sister gave 4 million to the Jesuit Fairfield University. Yeah, Trump's like really in deep. Like if you go through like a list of all of his appointments, like they're all thoroughly Jesuitical and Roman Catholic. Trump said that we're gonna be on guard for anti-Catholic bias. It'll be interesting though to see if they possibly, they attempted to impeach Bill Clinton in the '90s and with the Lewinsky thing, and it was a whole sham. Like the lawyer Robert Bennett was Jesuit trained at Brooklyn Prep and Georgetown and was a member of the Jesuit Philodemic Society. But it'll be interesting. They're doing Trump is he's been involved in so many psyops already with the Jesuits. Just a funny little. This isn't like a huge psyop in the grand theme of things, but actually, see, tell me guys if you remember this. Lana Del Rey. I won't let the video drag on here. If you're not aware, Lana Del Rey, like a hip hop like singing artist, used like witchcraft against Trump supposedly. Lana Del Rey was trained by the Jesuits at Fordham University, like the same school as Trump. There's a lot of psyops going on. I haven't. Oh, well, like I've seen the video. Are you talking about? I've seen a video where Donald Trump said that we need to come together in like a global community. I haven't like heard him use the term New World Order, but I think when he said a global community, that's like a watered down way of saying a New World Order. Combined, where Trump says we need to come together for a global community, and then he also says we need to be on guard for anti-Catholic bias. Michael Jones. I haven't watched Michael Jones's stuff. Is he a YouTube show? I just haven't I haven't come across the name before. I'll look into them though. There's tons of YouTube shows out here. I haven't done a show exposure vid in a while too. So after I get this book here, the FBI and the Catholic Church, up on my channel, I'll I'll do a couple more show exposing videos. Yeah, here's the. This is just this is a very revealing photo if you haven't seen it before. Hoover's Sword of Loyola. Actually, you can see a picture of Hoover also getting his honorary degree at Jesuit Georgetown University in 1939. That's right here. There's Hoover. Amazon was like selling this photo for like $80. I'm sure many Jesuits actually like have this photo, up in like their living room. Well, yeah, the New World Order definitely will happen. The Jesuits like have their infrastructure like set in place, and that's why we're seeing like they're coming out in the open right now. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope. You have Patrick Conroy in the U.S. as the first Jesuit ever to be a chaplain in the House of Representatives. Even in the 70s, Robert Drinan, S.J., a Jesuit, was in the like United States Congress or the United States House of Representatives from Massachusetts, I think. And interestingly, at the same time, Robert McLaughlin, who ran the McLaughlin Group, the propaganda show on MSNBC, the Jesuit priest Robert McLaughlin, S.J. He was Richard Nixon's speechwriter, but in the 70s, while the Jesuit Robert Drinan was in the House, Jesuit priest John McLaughlin reached out to Pedro Arrupe to get his blessing to run as a Jesuit priest for the United States Senate. But interestingly, Pedro Arrupe uh, didn't give him the okay because I think the Jesuits were worried if they had two open Jesuit priests serving in the United States government that would raise a lot of questions, get a lot of people's hair raised. What I mean? People are like, why are there Jesuit priests in the United States government? But the Jesuits, if you even going back into England, if you study I did a video on it. Lord Robert Montagu's book, he covers the presidency of William Gladstone, a supposed Protestant. He puts it like 700 pages. You'll see that the Jesuits, especially you'll see in that case of England, the Jesuits many times get more of their agenda put through when they have a Protestant at the head. Just look at Ronald Reagan, for example, in the United States. Oh, absolutely. Trump's in bed with Soros, the Koch brothers. So, yeah, there's an article on my channel, or not my channel, this blog I got here, where it goes into some of the connections with Trump and the Koch brothers. It's with the Neil and Ann Corkery run this network called the Wellspring organization. Yeah, it's called Wellspring Committee. Yeah, but this Wellspring Committee donates millions of dollars to Americans for Prosperity, which is a Koch organization. And both of these Corkeries are Opus Dei. Ann Corkery was on Mitt Romney's finance committee in 2008. Corkery here is the chair of the Sudan Relief Fund, which I think is like a Roman Catholic child trafficking organization in Sudan. I covered another organization called Wells for Life on this blog, which I think is a child trafficking organization in Uganda. There's a Jesuit educated Supreme Court justice on the Ugandan Supreme Court. You can read her name in the article. She also teaches at Georgetown. But yeah, I don't want this video to ramble on too long. Just giving you guys a heads up. I am gonna be reading this video on my channel. Oh, yeah, the Rothschilds, yeah. Well, yeah, the Rothschilds are they've been working with the Jesuits. Well, personally I haven't seen documentation, but I think Mayor Amschel Rothschild was a member of the Illuminati. But I've seen he was a Knight of Malta. The Rothschilds are documented as bankers or guardians of the papal treasure. If you read, go back through my videos on the Vatican billions in chapter 26 on that book. There's disclosures on financial deals that the Rothschilds and the Vatican were doing back in the 1960s. Interestingly, Emmanuel Macron, the current president of France, is Jesuit trained, and he worked in a Rothschild bank as well. And I think I've seen the channel Willow Groma bring up this point, and I think it's true. I think the Jesuits have decided to invest their money in the Rothschilds so that the Vatican, or so it's out of reach from the Vatican. So no other lay church organization can have access to that wealth. That's why I think the Jesuits um, store a lot of their wealth with the Rothschilds. Yeah, that's all for this one, YouTube. Peace and love, and Namnas. Look forward to I'm looking forward to reading this book. I think it's going to be really informative, like 350 pages. But like the FBI literally is like an Inquisition, a secular extension of the Inquisition, and it's proven with this huge flood of Catholic prominence in like the leadership positions in the FBI. But that's all for this one, YouTube. Peace and love, and Num Nas.